Hello, and thank you for joining us for the AKC Good Dog Helpline's webinar on house training and crating. I'm Penny Lee. I'm the program manager for the AKC Good Dog Helpline, which is a 7-day-a-week telephone training support service. Today, we will be discussing house training, which is one of our most popular topics on the Good Dog Helpline. We get more questions on this topic than any other area of puppydom, as I would call it. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I have been training, showing, and breeding dogs for more than 30 years. I have loved dogs and lived with dogs, though, for my entire life. And my husband and I currently breed flat-coated retrievers and border collies. We also own mixed breeds. Mixed breeds are a part of AKC now, and they compete in our events. And as I said, I compete in many different events, including agility, obedience, rally, flyball, dock diving. There's all sorts of things, fun things you can do with your puppy. So once you're done with puppyhood and basic training, I encourage you to look into all the fun things that AKC offers. But today, next, we're going to be talking about house training. And these are some of the topics that we'll cover in relation to that, including crate training, which goes hand in hand with house training. Next. So the first thing I wanted to tell you is to be patient, because house training is not it's not something that you can put a timeline on. And one of the questions we always receive is, how long will it take before my puppy is fully house trained? And the answer to that is we can't tell you, because puppies are individuals. And it would be the same thing as you can't really tell a parent what a human toddler, how long it will take a human toddler to be potty trained either. They're individuals. It varies according to the breed, and it also, a lot of this falls on you and how consistent you are and how clear you make the message for your puppy. But remember, puppies are babies. They cannot even really control their bladder muscles until about 16 weeks or 4 months of age. So what you're trying to do during this time is just prevent accidents from happening, because every time you prevent an accident, that's a step in the right direction. Because if a puppy has an accident and you're not able to reinforce any behavior in relation to that, it's self-rewarding because the puppy thinks it's okay. So that's why next, one of the big things that we're going to tell you to do is watch your puppy. So one of the house training 101 steps is supervise your puppy. It is very important that your puppy doesn't have the full run of your house. I know you want them to, but if you keep them confined to a room or two, supervised, your puppy will get house trained quicker, and then you can let them have the full run of your house. Keeping your puppy enclosed in a one to two rooms that are puppy proofed also keeps your house safe too, because most puppies are chewers. They can be destructive. They get into things. So supervising your puppy and not giving them too much real estate has many benefits. So by supervising, as I said, pick a room, one room of your house, maybe 2 rooms of your house where your puppy will be able to run, to be free with you supervising them. You can use baby gates, you can use X pins, any type of barrier to keep them within that room, and keep your eyes on the puppy. That way, if your puppy starts showing signs that they may have to go out or to their pee pad or litter box, whatever method you're using, whether it's indoors or outdoors, then you can be proactive. And signs might be, things to watch for as you're watching your puppy, might include circling, restlessness, not being active and bouncy, but restless, like they're getting anxious, sniffing. All that would be a sign that I may need to take my puppy to their potty area. So if you need to move around the house and you don't want to put your puppy in their crate or other area at the time, we recommend tethering the puppy to you. Basically, that means put the puppy on a leash and just walk the puppy with you, or even tie the puppy to you. Use a long leash. They can go around. It can go around your waist. They even make some leashes that are body leashes for this purpose. Just take puppy with you. That way puppy's with you, you know what they're doing, and you can keep your eyes on them. So like we say, keep your eye on the bouncing puppy. Next. So crate training has many benefits besides house training, but it is extremely, I feel that all dogs should be crate trained, but it does go hand in hand with house training, because dogs do not want to eliminate where they sleep, or the majority of dogs do not want to eliminate where they sleep. So the first, and some breeders, if you got your puppy from a breeder, some breeders are doing a great job in crate training their puppies before they come home. So if your breeder did that, then you should send them a thank you note, because if your puppy is already very comfortable in a crate when they come home, then you are already ahead of the game. But crate, first step is, if you haven't purchased a crate yet, or if you have purchased a crate and it's not working for you, some things to keep in mind are your crate should not be too big. So you want it to be comfortable. The puppy should be able to lie down and stretch out, stand up and turn around, but that's really as big as it needs to be. It should not be like an X pen or a small fenced-in area. If the puppy can run around, then the puppy is likely to choose one side as a bathroom area. So you don't want it too big. So if you have a bigger, you picked a breed that's going to be a bigger, much bigger, and you don't want to invest in several different size crates as they grow, you can still buy a full-size crate, and they will often come with a divider, or you can purchase a divider which will make the crate smaller, and you can just move the divider out, keep moving it as your puppy grows, and eventually you can just get rid of the divider once they're full grown. So, but that is important. Tips for crate training your puppy. So if your puppy's not already crate trained, the best way to do this is in very short increments of time. So your puppy gets gradually used to the crate, and we want them to develop a very positive association with the crate. So a really fun game to play is to leave the crate door open and make a treat trail into the crate. Obviously, the best time to do this is when your puppy is hungry, and pick treats that are small, quick for them to chew. You don't want things that are real hard and chewy that the puppy's going to take forever. You want small, soft treats that the puppy will quickly eat, and you make a trail of them, you know, on the floor all the way into the crate to the very back of the crate, because we want the puppy to go in with all 4 feet. So once the puppy has discovered this fun game and they're running into their crate, you also want to incorporate feeding your puppy all its meals in the crate. So, and put the bowl all the way in the back of the crate, so the puppy has to go in with all 4 feet. So you see how this is developing a very positive association with the crate. Good things happen when I go in my crate. I get treats, I get dinner, I get breakfast, whatever. And so you can then start closing the door. So every time they go in to eat, close the door. When they're finished, let them out. And you're going to just gradually start increasing the time your puppy is staying in the crate. Always give your puppy something positive when they go in their crate. So if it's not dinner time, they can get a treat, a cookie, a stuffed Kong, you know, a puppy safe bone, like a Nyla bone. So they always good things happen when they go in their crate. If you have a, oh, and the other thing is, I know people are always worried, how long can my puppy be crated? And there is a general formula for that. And it is your puppy's age in months +1, and that equates into hours. So for instance, a 4-month-old puppy can generally hold it about 5 hours. So that makes sense. So your puppy's age in months +1. Now, all puppies are individuals. This is not absolute, but it is a general formula you can use if you're concerned about how long, once my puppy's crate trained, can I leave them in their crate. So you can see when your puppy's young, You probably will have to get up in the middle of the night and take them out if you want to be really safe. But it's not, doesn't take too long till they work up to being able to spend all night in their crate. We do sometimes have cases where puppies do use the bathroom in their crate, even though you've done all the right things. And why this happens, we don't know. It could be something that, for the way the puppy was raised, where they were kept as a puppy by the breeder, we don't know. But there are some things you can do if your puppy is having accidents in their crate, despite you doing all the right things. Well, one thing is, as I said, the crate could be too big. Try making the crate smaller. Try making the crate darker and more private. Like if you have a wire crate, cover it up with something. Sometimes there's just too much activity. The puppy can see too much outside of its crate. They're getting too stimulated and they can't hold their bladder. The other thing is take the bedding out. And I know this seems mean because everybody wants their puppy to have a blanket and a bed, but dogs love to eliminate on porous surfaces. That's why they like to go on your rugs as opposed to hardwood floors or tile. And that's why they like to go on grass usually. So your puppy will be fine, but sometimes just as taking the blankets and the beds out, they like to go on those, will eliminate that. And of course, and I will say this again later, a physical checkup is always good to rule things out. If your puppy is having accidents in their crate, you may want to get a check with the vet just to eliminate that they don't have a UTI or something else, so they're not able to control it. Another option I wanted to bring up as we talk about crate training is particularly those of you who are back to work and working long hours and you feel like I can't leave my puppy crated all day. A really good option is to have a crate with an open door and an X pin around it. And an X pin, you can buy those at any pet supply store. They're like a little mini fence that you can put up in your house or in your yard. And you want to make sure it's tall enough your puppy can't jump out of it. Some of them even have, you can even get tops for most of them if you're worried about that. But that way your puppy is in a safe enclosed area with their crate, but they're not enclosed in their crate, because we don't want to force the puppy to have an accident inside their crate, because that can set up a bad precedent. And then in the exercise pen area, you can have their water, some puppy safe toys, even some pee pads or a litter box. And you can feel more secure if you have to be gone for a long period of time, that your puppy isn't in a crate and is half being forced to use the bathroom in their crate. It's a good option. Next. So a routine. Now, again, these are all your house training 101 steps that you need to do. Routines are very important. Dogs like routines, and those of you who've had dogs before, or you already have another dog, you know dogs like routines. They know when it's time to go to bed. They know about what time they eat. And it's important to set up a good routine for your new puppy and one you can stick by. So if you are working from home still, or your children are doing remote learning and everybody's at home, but this may change at some point, then you should choose a schedule for your puppy that will be the same as when you go back to work, because that can be very disruptive to a puppy's house training routine if you have to change things around. So that means the puppy should get up about the same time every day, go out the same times every day, go to bed about the same time. Very important to keep that. Schedules are important. We do also encourage you to feed the puppy at the same time every day. Most puppies, or young puppies, when you first bring them home, are eating 3 or maybe even 4 times a day, depending on the breed and the size of the puppy. Some toy breeds have to eat more often. We do not advocate free feeding, which means just putting down a big bowl of kibble and letting them nibble throughout the day. My dogs, even my puppies, would probably consume all the kibble within 2 seconds anyhow, so that wouldn't go very well. But some dogs do nibble throughout the day, but we really encourage you not to do that, to feed them on schedule, because puppies, it's very difficult for you to predict when they have to eliminate. based on that. And it's also a little difficult to know exactly how much food your puppy's consuming, and it is important to know how much they're eating. So a schedule is very important. Next. So rewarding good behavior. When everything goes right, reward, reward, reward. You cannot do enough rewarding when things go right. So as owners, we are usually very guilty of telling our puppies often when they're doing something wrong, no, no, and down, off, quiet, but we are not as good about rewarding them when they're doing the right thing. And that is really more important than marking the negative. And that's very true for house training as well. So what we encourage you to do when you're house training, for those of you who are hoping your puppy will go outside, but really you can apply the same principles if you are teaching your puppy to go using an indoor method like a litter box or pee pads. But so if you're teaching your puppy to go outside, even if you have a fenced in yard, you should put them on their leash and collar or harness, whichever you're using, and take them outside to about the same spot. The reason for that is if you have a fenced-in yard, a safe or another safe, secure fenced-in area that you take your puppy, you probably already have noticed this. When you take them off leash or you put them out by themselves, I do not recommend that, because then you have no idea whether they went or not. You need to see them go to know that they eliminated before you bring them back in the house. But if you just leave them to their own resources, they get distracted. They're puppies. They start trotting around, they eat grass, they dig, they chase butterflies, they run, and they forget. And then you're like, well, I guess you didn't have to go. You take them in the house, and guess what? Then you have a puddle, right? So the best thing is if you take them on a leash, the same area, you can control a little bit. They still might be a little distracted, but you can control it a little better. And then when they do go, you should reward them. And I take food treats. I reward them with food treats. I have a big party. I tell them how great they are, reward them with food, because I want them to think that's just fabulous. You went in the right spot. This gets you something. Then another part of the reward should be, even if you're in a hurry and you have to get to work, it should be, you should spend a little time with them still, because most puppies, not everybody, but most puppies like to go outside and they like to go on walks. So they are very smart, and they will discover that as soon as they eliminate, you take them right back in the house, they will start holding it so they can stay outside longer. So after they eliminate, spend a few minutes either walking them on leash, playing with them, or if you're in a safe, secure, fenced-in area, take them off leash and play with them. Let them run around a little bit. That's part of the reward. So what do you do when you go outside and nothing happens? I'm doing all the right things. They're on their leash. I'm in the spot. I've been out here 15 minutes and they have not eliminated. So what you don't want to do, take them back in the house and let them loose in their room, in their area, because they will have an accident. What you want to do is take them back inside and put them in their crate, wait about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and take them back out on their leash, and you will probably have success at that point. And don't forget to reward, even if it's your second try, reward, and tell them how great they are when they go in the right spot. If you're doing an indoor method, it's the same thing. Go with them to their pee pad, go with them to their litter box, reward them when they use it. Next. So responding to accidents. Accidents will happen, and I always say it's not the end of the world, so don't act like it is. And accidents don't just happen to puppies. Accidents will happen occasionally throughout your dog's life. Adult dogs can get upset stomachs, or you had to work extra long on any given day. They couldn't hold it. Accidents happen. And so don't overreact. Don't yell at your dog. Vow to, especially in the case of puppies, vow to do better, to supervise your puppy and watch them and get them out more often. So it is important. If you do not, let's first talk about accidents that you do not witness. So, as much as you're really trying to supervise your puppy, everybody's human. You may be a time you take your eyes off your puppy and you turn around and there's a puddle. You have no opportunity for training. You just have to clean it up. Yeah, just like a lot of people will say, oh, they know they did wrong. They always tell me their puppy, he knows he did wrong because he looked like he was upset. Well, they really don't know that the puddle was something that happened that they did wrong. They know you're upset. They know you're yelling at them. And that's why they look like that little golden retriever looks right there. They will look because you're yelling, but they really don't know that it's because of that puddle. So the only thing you can do if you find an accident, ignore it, don't address the puppy, clean it up, and clean it up very well, because if the smell lingers, it will draw the puppy back to that spot. So we recommend cleaning it with an enzyme-based stain odor remover that's made for dog accidents. Like I said, clean it up really well. If a puppy is really drawn to a certain spot, you might even have to barricade them from that area for a while, because sometimes dogs will pick out a spot they want to go. Now, if you catch your puppy in the act, there is a training opportunity. However, it is very important that you do not scare the puppy. Your first impulse when you see a puppy having an accident, whether it's number 1 or number 2, is to yell, right? Say no or bad. I mean, it's just your impulse. But in doing so, you could scare the puppy. And when you scare the puppy, the result is usually not that, oh gosh, I was bad because I had an accident. The result is usually, I'm afraid to go to the bathroom in front of my owner. So then you find they'll sneak, maybe go behind the couch, around a corner. They try to get out of sight. Or even worse, it could have the impact of them not going in front of you when they're in the place you want them to go, like outside. So you do want to mark it because there is a training opportunity. Just don't be too harsh. So just mark it, very non-emotionally, like, uh-oh, hey, what's going on? Uh-oh. And maybe the puppy will stop midstream to look at you, and that gives you the great opportunity to scoop them up, take them to where they should have gone. And if they finish, then you can reward them. Even if they're finished and you caught them right at the end, you can still take them to where they should have gone, just to mark that, hey, this is where that should have happened. So that's it. That is really important, and it speaks to supervise your puppy. So hopefully you see some telltale signs so you can get them to where they should have gone before the accident happens. And if you feel like you've already, you might have, don't feel guilty if you've already maybe feel like you have been too harsh or scared your puppy. Just turn it around, and next time it happens, be more moderate and give them extra rewards when they go in the right spot. And then just I mentioned this earlier, but just something I did want to emphasize is if your puppy is having lots of accidents in the house, they're not really even giving you any signs. They are, again, going in their crate. A trip to the vet is always a good idea. You always want to rule out anything physical, because you really can't train something if there's something physical that's overriding your puppy's ability to do what you're training. So just to rule out that the puppy doesn't have a UTI or anything like that going on. One other thing I wanted to mention also is sometimes you do need to pull water up before bedtime. So we usually say about 2 hours before bedtime, it's okay to pick up the water bowl, particularly those puppies that like to drink a lot. And some breeds particularly like to drink a lot of water. Retrievers love to get in the water all the time. And then it's harder for them to not have an accident or need to go out overnight. It's okay. You can even put out ice cubes so they can still lick something if needed, but they're not consuming so much water. And that's okay. and even considering what time you're feeding their last meal at night, sometimes timing that a little earlier can help with the puppies being able to hold it overnight a little better. Next. So that concludes our webinar on house training. I hope that we gave you some tips to set you on a successful program for a fully house-trained puppy. This was brought to you by the GoodDog Helpline. And as I mentioned, this is a live telephone service that's staffed by dog trainers. It is open 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and 6 hours a day, both Saturday and Sunday. The trainers all use positive reinforcement methodology, so you always get a similar viewpoint, and there's no limits on calls or questions. So if you've enjoyed this webinar, we hope you'll consider enrolling in the service, and then you can ask them not only about house training, but any topic that is of concern to you and bringing up your puppy. And you can visit akc.org/GDH for more information. So thank you again, and there will be other training webinars available on other topics soon, brought to you by the GoodDog Helpline. So we hope you will join us again in the future.